Welcome to the Spaceless Realms Podcast. Welcome, everyone from all over the cosmos to connect into this space that is filled with universal knowledge, wisdom, growth, opportunities, and limitless potential and discovery. I am here with Kalki, but even just saying Kalki is still not even a fraction of what his essence encompasses in this existence.
Yeah, I
Truly,
can say the same about you, brother.
thank you. Thank you. So, today we'll be speaking about the cycles of life, nature, how the soul grows, how the soul develops awareness by going through different realms of existence, and how how we were once part of God or part of the Most High, everything that there is. And then our soul fragmented into this experience and incarnated into this realm to rediscover our potential of truly who and what we are, where we came from, and everything that entails our existence. And of course, we rediscover that through suffering and through pain. And there is bliss in this realm, in this existence, but it's a very grueling process to actually be able to attain that level of free soul exploration and free soul potential. Because if it was easy, then everyone would do it, but it's going to be a very challenging process to sharpen yourself in that way and refine your soul, refine your existence. The same way um a blacksmith, like bing on the anvil, it's like bing, bing, bing. It's like sharpening the sword and refining that beautiful creation that the blacksmith creates. Your soul can be the same way. So the more that you add to yourself and do service to yourself, then the more rewards you will reap. And yeah, we're building our future with everything we do in a day. We are always renewing ourselves, but we just have to be aware of that so then we can amplify that process and learn where our weak points are, where our strong points are, where the subconscious thoughts that hold us back are in our mind, in our actions, in our daily life, how the people around us keep us stuck in either old ways of operating that just aren't serving us anymore. Yeah, it's good to take a step back and observe your life from a third person perspective. Just like what we're doing right now with this podcast. I'm in the perspective of watching myself and also watching the being who I'm connecting with right now and observing how we can grow and expand ourselves for the benefit of ourselves and also the benefit of the cosmos. And yeah, there. I feel like that was a good introduction of what we are going to be diving into today. Kalki, welcome.
I could not have put that better. That is beautifully put. There's galactic implications there in every statement that you made. It's beautiful to look at all the different facets of growth in a quantum sense because we have so many different rites of passage to us in this society that have been denied to us. There's so much in colonial capitalist hierarchical society, patriarchal society, that we've been denied to as a natural growth pattern of evolution, as this stepping stone, as a ceremony, as a ritual, as a celebration, a festivity. We have these colonially imposed days of holy days, holidays that are very often pagan holidays that have been hidden under religious implications that are genocidal and destructive of indigenous reality and nature. So we've been alienated from our natural growth patterns. We've been alienated from our stepping stones to grow from the different stages of evolution in our life into what we're meant to be, from infancy to youth to preteen years, to teenage years, to the rebellion, to, you know, early adult years and late teenage years, to the mid-adult years, to late adult years, to elder years, to, you know, ancient, like more ancient elder years. There's so many different stages of evolution that we have in a human lifetime, so many different patterns of growth that we can evolve into, and most of those have been denied to us through capitalist society. So I think
Mm.
it's extremely important to explore those from every level, and to remember that growth and human maturity, human evolution is on many, many different levels as well. There's many different stages and there's many different levels. You can evolve emotionally, spiritually, physically, psychically, astrally, metaphysically, intellectually. There's, you know, you can evolve shamanically, indigenously. A lot of those, there's some overlap, but at the end of the day, they say there are 8 different astral bodies, including the shamanic one, which is the shape-shifting one, which is infinite. So there's 7 astral bodies plus the 8th one, which is our body, which is infinite. And those overlapping bodies create the unique creation, which is you, which is me, which is who we are. And we need to reclaim these ancient traditions, these ancient rituals, rites of passage, to be able to re-evolve into what we're healthily meant to be, instead of going to a commercial bar on the weekend, getting plastered drunk and yelling at each other over bad music we don't even want to listen to.
Mm. How many people would you say, on average, live that kind of life? Like, out of the masses, how many people are stuck in that cycle?
You know, that's a really good question. I'm not that good at statistics sometimes because I haven't really looked that up. I don't even know if we could find an accurate figure, but I would say in the first world, in the colonial world, a
Mhm.
large majority of people are at least partially embedded within that life. Want it or not, you have friends that go there once in a while. You end up in those situations. Very few people are completely removed from that reality, and usually those are traditional indigenous peoples.
Hmm. I want you to speak on the saying, with more power comes more responsibility. How does that correlate with the soul?
Well, see, they say that we're all born with a certain number of gifts and we can evolve those gifts, we can grow those gifts. But it's like if somebody gives you, you know, a bow and a quiver and you have 10 arrows, but somebody else is only given 2 arrows. They're going to have to do whatever they can with those 2 arrows. Maybe they have to fashion some more and create more. But some people have an intrinsic advantage at birth because of social, political, psycho, you know, social, biochemical conditions, genetic conditions that are different, you know, financial situation that's different. So we have to be able to evolve with what we're given. But at the same time, I don't know, it's a complex conundrum to actually be able to grow with the amount of power that you have, because the more power is given in a corrupt centralized society, the more it has a tendency to corrupt the recipient of that power. So I
Hmm.
think the idea with true power is to gain that from a non-centralized, non-economic force.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm. So a lot of people say, like, we're just humans. Like, we're just humans, so we don't have that much power. But I actually see it the other way around. Because we are human and we are in this form, I feel like we have unlimited amounts of power because we are reflections of that, you know what I mean? So
Very much so.
so how do we flip that? How do we flip that perspective on we're just humans, we're not going to be shit, that kind of perspective.
I think that ties in directly to what we were just talking about in terms of rites of passage. Because once you actually have those community rites of passage, like a sweat lodge, a sun dance, a vision quest, a transition into your adult life, a celebration of, say, wedding, but like in a traditional, like indigenous sense. Once you have those rituals reinstored in the principles of nature, then you can regain access to those lost memories, to those lost parts of yourself. You can transition into those higher states of awareness and consciousness and power that you're naturally meant to be in, without saying instead, we're going to go do a giant wedding in Las Vegas and we're going to gamble and we're going to do this and invite 500 people from both sides of the family and fly everyone on first class. And some people don't realize that that's not a rite of passage anymore. That's a waste of consumer resources. But then they're like, I want to have the most expensive diamond ring, I want to have the most expensive wedding, I want to have a giant car for my wedding, I want everyone to give us lots of money. People don't think in terms of traditional rites of passage anymore. It's not natural what we're living. And if we want to regain our true power, we have to regain those true rituals. To me, that's the quintessential part of existing in the way that we're meant to be.
Hmm. Okay. I really like how you said that. So I'm going to share a image on the screen and I want you to let me know what you think about it. Because it's definitely something that I want to explore more. And I feel like you would find this interesting as well. So just give me a second. Okay. There it is. Share screen. Boom. Okay. So what you're seeing right now is an elongated skull
Oh, wow.
from the ancient times. And I'm sure the human body was able to morph like this from enhanced living and enhanced lifestyle, everything that, literally everything that goes into creating a being like this.
Yeah, more developed brain, wider parts of certain aspects of the brain that are more developed. This is predicted that certain humans in the future would start looking like this and have a more evolved Homo sapiens sapiens, Homo noeticus, Homo sensorium brain,
So how do we morph into this? How do we do
or
this?
Fema sensorium, I should say. Well, it's going to be a matter of genetic patterns of evolution, but we can quantum leap into that by exercising our brain more. The brain is a muscle. At the end of the day, it's an organ as well, too.
Hmm.
So you can exercise it and expand it, but then you can only expand it so much. Maybe in the future we'll evolve in ways where our brain, our skull will be more like, our skull frame will be more like babies, and we'll have the capacity to expand our skull based on brain activity.
Mm. Another thing, what I realized is that youth are much more electromagnetically charged. You know how like if you like rub your hair on like a balloon or something like that, then your hair
Mm.
like stand up and stick. But I find as you get older, like like for example, an adult would have a less electromagnetic energy compared to a youth.
You're right. You're right.
Like, but kids, they don't even have to do that, but they're just like always electromagnetically charged, you know? That's part of
That
like
makes entire
building.
sense because they're at an earlier stage in life. They have a higher output.
Yeah. But how do we maximize that output as we grow older?
Well, you have to stabilize it, but maximizing it also has to do with the creative output of your dragon and the balance, the counterbalance of the amount of energy you need to replenish your toroidal force field, which protects your vital energy. So
Mhm.
it has to be a balance between the expenditure of creative energy through the crown chakra, all the way up to beyond that into Pasuriyaka and Baha'isana.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to look at the creative dragon output versus the amount of energy that's going back into replenishing your force field around you to protect you from harm. So it's a give and take.
For example, that picture that I just showed, how long do you think that being would live?
Really depends in what age they were living.
Yeah.
But realistically,
Looked
it's quite
Egyptian.
possible they could have had up to 100,000 year lifespan.
Wow. Hmm. I feel like I was that kind of being in a different life that lived that long and had that much experience.
I don't doubt it. I've had
Mhm.
memories of having past lives like that as well too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the reason why we're here in this form and we're talking about these realities. I remember one time I was giving a conference at Luminosity Festival about the numerology of consciousness. And I was surprised because I didn't even know people were going to show up. And there was a whole group of people. It was like, at a festival like that, there was maybe like 1,000 people at the whole festival. And there was maybe like 50 people that showed up for my conference. So I was like, wow. And everybody was sitting around, and I'm talking about these ancient civilizations and the wars of the Nephilim and the destruction of the atmosphere on Mars and the polar, and somebody was like, how do you know all of this? Were you there? And I was like, I don't know, I don't remember, but to be honest, it's possible. You never know.
Yeah.
But people were looking at me like I was some kind of an alien that came down in a human form to actually start explaining forbidden knowledge and civilizations and wisdom. And it felt really good because it felt very unique to be in that position.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. My some of my friends think I'm like an alien.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay, so I wanted to share another image. Okay, what do you think of this? So come get a nice close look. This is the toroidal field force field of Earth and this planet. And on the left, that's the goddess. That's the chaotic
Hmm.
different goddess of this realm that we are encompassed in.
It's
So
almost like a simple cymatic resonance pattern.
yeah, so basically like because we are puzzle pieces of this connection, if we were to harmonize and connect with this energy, then there would be no scarcity of anything, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, and that represents the like different patterns of the flower of life as well too. It's like the 1,000 flower blossoming lotus, 1,000 petal blossoming lotus.
Mhm.
It's a magnetic resonance pattern that has to do with sacred geometry.
Mm.
And it's very primordially ancient. It's very important, and it's definitely directly related to the goddess. The Sri Yantra is related to Buddhic patriarchal traditions, but it's a beautiful overlapping pattern as well too. It has its own purpose.
Mm. Okay. This is more occult of what I'm going to screen share right now. And I want to know what you think of this as well. So basically, you can think of the cross in the middle of the screen as your soul and your spirit as well that's encompassed in this form. And on the left side, you see the four elements: fire, earth, air, and water.
Yeah.
If we're able to master over all of these elements, and also on the right side of the screen, master over the four archetypes that bind and trap the soul. So, for example, on the top, that is the serpent that controls over man. On the right,
Yeah.
that's the crow. I think it looks like a crow. And then the lion on the bottom, and then the goat on the left. I feel like
Hmm.
these are different attributes of the soul. And once you learn to master over each of the archetypes, then you reign supreme of the circle.
Yeah, and if you actually complete that cross, which is just a plus sign, it's a crossroads of four directions. You can complete that into a four. You can put a circle around it, make it into a medicine wheel. You can overlap the circle with the archetypes, and then you have the four cardinal directions. You have the 8 points in between. You have the eightfold path that blossoms from this. You have the medicine wheel, the medicine circle. There's many different ways to shift the symbolism of the patterns and actually interpret that rationally and logically. I would say it's not reigning necessarily over the archetypes, but having a mastery of who they are, like you said, like of what their intrinsic nature is.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's better to best your demons instead of them besting you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but you want to best them peaceably, like you want to do that in a way where they feel impressed by you and they want to befriend you instead of like making them feel like shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can make them feel like shit if they're being assholes, but generally speaking, your enemies, they say you keep them closer than your friends.
Hmm. So now what I'm showing is a bird's eye view of temples. Basically, the way I perceive this is if you look at the image on the right side, there is a kingdom in the middle of this temple, and it's protected by walls and barriers, and there's different archetypes that block you from going deeper within. Um, yeah, the way I perceive this is that there is a world within a world in this realm, worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds. And
Yes,
you unlock that by not going more external, but going more within yourself to expand and break through to these realms.
indeed. Going within is actually what allows you to see what's without and what's hidden.
No.
Because once you're actually at peace with who you are within yourself, and once you can gaze inwards, you actually can see the microcosmic in this reality. You can pay attention to all the details in this realm that most people take for granted. If you know how to look down on the ground while you're walking and see the insects, you realize a whole new layer of reality.
Yeah.
You realize that we've been here for a very short period of time on Earth compared to them, and they'll continue to be here long after we're gone.
Hmm. Hmm. What do you think of the symbolism of the pyramid?
Oh, the pyramid. To me, it's very similar to the cross and it's related directly, intrinsically. It's the four cardinal directions, but it represents the transmutation, the transmigration of the soul from one point on earth, which is aligned with the star systems, which projects you into your astral form into the star peoples. So it's meant to be a gate, a portal, essentially like a house for the soul, a house for the Ka and the Ba. It's a Kaaba, and it projects your higher soul and your lower soul to where they're meant to be.
Hmm.
It channels the energy of the sun as well too. It's made out of quartz crystal essentially, right? So it channels immense repositories of knowledge and wisdom from ageless traditions, from the roots of the beginning of the earth when it was scorched from meteoric lava, and it gives you all the knowledge and the energy of existence compressed within a singularity point where your soul transmutes at the apex of the pyramid and goes directly into the star system it's aligned to. So it's an extremely advanced astral traveling portal.
Hmm. Okay, well, I'm going to share this. And yeah, that's, is there anything else that you want to end off the podcast with?
Oh, it's a beautiful piece of art. That to me is very futuristic and very cosmic.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say of it, but to me it's like worlds within worlds, and it's very, very etheric. I wouldn't know what to say other than to say that growth can be fostered through microcosmic moments of awareness, like just through a piece of art, just through a conversation, through a couple of key words, through nutrition, through friendship, through love, through acquaintances, through stray moments of random occurrences, through even fascinating and fixing a point and observing a point with attention, whether it be an ant on an ant hill in a crystal pyramid that's channeling energy 20 times its weight and carrying a block of food back to its colony, or marveling like youth used to, or like elders do, telling a long story about something that you've lived, that you remember, that reminds you of your divine essence, reconnects you with nature, re-experiencing those moments of awareness and finding those rites of passage for ourselves that are natural. I think that's what I'd like to bring it back to.
Okay. I bless the space. Thank you to everyone, all the energies that tuned into this space. Yeah, I wish benevolence and evolution always.
Thank you to everyone, truly, and to you especially in particular for this.
Thank you, brother. Okay. Peace.
Peace.
I love. Wait.